love it. And then on the other side, we've got Angus Johnson playing Gardevoir. And it's a lot of what we expect to see from Gardevoir, honestly. It looks like the kind of Gardevoir list we've seen. Interesting to note, in contrast to our previous game casting Gardevoir today, David, we do have just a straight 4 Curlier, refinement, drawing cards. No option there to, you know, get all your Curlier out with one attack. So just chosen to go for just the 4 refinement and off. So, and this has to be a little bit intimidating. Like, if you're Angus Johnson here, you know how good a player Cyrus is. We all know how she won North American Internationals.
Yes.
We all know how good she is now. Anyone who didn't found out when she won North American Internationals. So, yeah, I wonder if that's going to play kind of a little bit of an impact. Oh, 2 Curlier prize, just not good.
Yeah, this really hurts. Yeah, we have 2 players that seem to have like a very different approach to tournaments. Angus Johnson is, as far as I can tell, playing almost the same deck list as at NAIC. So Angus seems like one of these people that just go in, well, I'm the best person with this deck, I know exactly what I have to do, I'm super well. I heard Cyrus said in an interview that she doesn't really test so much and can just basically play every deck that she just chooses. So yeah, that's very cool to see that also another, yeah, we see another cool deck choice here from Cyrus. And let's start game 1 with Angus going first, but already starting at a disadvantage. And we will see the surprise now with the Battle VIP pass.
That's good. Battle VIP pass turn 1. Everything you're hoping for here. Go and get yourself any 2 basic Pokemon. A lot of the time here, we see a second Routes and we see a Radiant Greninja. But especially when you're going first, that Zacian is a great option because it gets you an extra energy. And sure, it ends your turn, but you're ending your turn without attacking anyway. So that's why a lot of the time we will see that on turn 1, because it's basically a free energy as long as you don't mind having Zacian on the field.
Yeah, Angus also opened the Forest Seal Stone in hand, so
nice.
It's one of the extra reasons why you can just put Zacian down, maybe change the Forest Seal Stone, maybe you can use it this turn or next turn. In this turn, of course, you could get another Battle VIP pass, for example, which would give you more bench space, or you save it for next time and maybe get a rare candy, for example.
Yeah, or even guarantee a Curlier if you've got no other routes to it. I love Forest Seal Stone in a deck like this. Of course, you need to have a Pokemon V to which it is attached. That is why we often see it attached to the Zacian, but no, it is going to be straight away turn 1 using it. And it's weird because V-Stars, they are what generally have your V-Star power, but now Forest Seal Stone can go on a V and actually be used on your first turn of the game, which other than the tools, V-Star powers actually can't. But obviously it's for a Battle VIP pass, for a Manaphy, and a Routes there. Of course, seeing Radiant Greninja straight away on the other side of the board, taking no chances.
Yeah, Angus might be maybe like a little bit afraid, but now that you see the Radiant Greninja, you're like, oh yeah, so Cyrus has another deck. I'm fine, I can bench the 60 HP rolls without being afraid of something like a Yoga Loop. Yeah, and double Battle VIP pass powered by the Forest Seal Stone, and you're also able to get more energy cards into play with your Zacian, as we see Cyrus playing a Heavy Ball, grabbing a Origin Form Palkia V from the press cards.
Yeah, that's always a fun one. Of course, this is largely, it is largely an Origin Form Palkia deck. There are 2 Chen Pal, and then we've got Origin Form Palkia. So you can attack with Palkia, or you can attack with Chen Pal. There's no Baxcalibur in the deck. Your energy acceleration is basically, you've got a couple Melanie, and then you've got your V-Star power on your Palkia. So it's not like the Baxcalibur list where you can attach a huge amount of energy and go super aggressive discarding them all, because you don't have quite that level of energy acceleration that you would have in a Baxcalibur deck, which is why you end up attacking with Palkia, but you've got Gem Powder if you need to get that kind of one big hit, or if you want to use the ability to get the energy out of your deck. But because you don't have Baxcalibur attaching essentially infinite energy, you do have to play very differently in the deck.
Yeah, also the Palkia deck is something that, we didn't really see at all. There were, I think, 2 players who used it at the NAIC. But yeah, if you get into like the big metagame discussion, it's something that's probably never brought up, or it's like the afterthought some people have. So this is definitely the deck that you can catch people off guard with. As we see, the switch coming down, putting the Chen Pao active with Shivery Chill. And then to get 2 energy cards from your deck, this is just a great ability to thin out your deck. And of course, Origin Form Palkia V-Star needs the energy cards in the discard pile. And this is just a great way, together with Radiant Greninja, get your energy cards from your deck, put them on the disc. Yeah, you can immediately discard them, draw cards, and then you have your explosive turns with Palkia.
Yeah, I love this. Cyrus setting up beautifully here. Of course, you've got that combination of get the energy, immediately discard it, use it later with Palkia. We do see a Bidoof on the field here. That is going to be able to evolve up into a Bibarel, hopefully warding off Iono if that comes down in the late game. So Cyrus is set up here pretty good, honestly. Like, you're not going to get a big attack turn one. That's not how this deck works. You need a turn to evolve up into your Palkia V-Star and to get set up. So bearing in mind that was never going to happen, finishing with a couple of Palkia and your Bidoof and an energy on the field, that's not bad.
Yeah, and also one just very small thing I noticed, Cyrus is playing very quick. She knows exactly what she's doing, knows, yeah, I can just bench my Palkia, no need to think about it unnecessarily. Yeah, as we see a worker, not probably the card that you really want to see. And now, yeah, Angus is probably realizing the prize card situation. Let's see how he reacts to that.
Yeah, and that's we've all been there. I guarantee if you played enough games of the Pokemon trading card game, you will have had that time where you look for your prizes and you're like, no. But yes, unfortunately, Angus, yes, 2 of the 4 Curlier are in the prize cards. Doesn't mean you don't have any Curlier, but it means, you know, how many times have we seen Gardevoir have quadruple refinement turn 2? Especially because, of course, one refinement helps you to find the next Curlier, which then, and you know, it kind of goes down that chain.
Yeah, but also, oh, sorry.
No, carry on.
But also you have Rare Candy, and there are also games where you just like don't draw really well to get all your Curliers out, that you can still win. You have Shining Arcana, which can also draw you cards. So Angus is probably just trying to go for Rare Candy play here. He has all the pieces in hand, so now that you know, let's forget about the Curlier. I mean, yeah, he should not forget about it, but yeah, let's just put that information aside. Let's go straight into Gardevoir.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing that worries me, and it's less of an issue against Cyrus's deck right now, what if one of those Curlier gets knocked out before you're really set up? And like you say, Angus has got the Gardevoir, you know, got everything you need to actually have that Gardevoir out. That is going to help massively here. Doesn't look like we're going for the EX Gardevoir here, though. That is the special illustration rare of Gardevoir EX that's just been grabbed out with the Ultra Ball. So looks like we might be going a slightly more aggressive route here. And yeah, we do see the Gardevoir EX in the active. We've got 2 energy in the discard. We need 3 to use Miracle Force. Oh, no, actually just using them to retreat.
Oh, and we see an attack with Rolls.
Yes, we do. We see that, the memory skip, that's the one. It only does 10 damage, but it basically lets you turn off one of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks. So in this case, Chen Pao cannot use the only attack. It's not terribly likely it was going to, unfortunately. That Hail Blade, maybe you put 2 energy on and discard 1 to KO the routes, but...
Yeah, this is especially risky because the deck Cyrus plays has no Excalibur, which we see in like regular Chen Pao decks. You should not forget this is not a Chen Pao deck, this is a Palkia deck, which uses Chen Pao to get energy cards, and then maybe the occasional Hail Blade off if it's appropriate for the situation. Yeah, but it's mainly a Palkia deck, which, yeah, you have this one like burst of energy cards that you get early in the game, and then later you can use Melanie to get more energy cards, but it's not like you can actually attack with Hailblade multiple times in a turn. But Angus had the possibility to, well, the alternative would have been just retreat and maybe use another Roar of the Sword. But yeah, he decided to, it's maybe better to just get the 10 damage off, and also the 10 damage are actually relevant because it puts Chen Pao down to 210 HP, which is, 7
energy.
times 3, so it's divisible. It's one of the damages. You need 1 energy less with your Gardevoir to take the knockout. As we see Cyrus here, with a very strong play, cross switcher. This is, Boss's Order, canceling Cologne, lost. Oh god, this is a great turn. This is the thing that Gardevoir players are afraid of. Being able to pull this off, just like the second turn, is amazing. Yeah, and there's even a Lost City, so if Cyrus,
this is perfect. This is what I meant about the Curlier being prized. Now, this was a perfect turn by Cyrus. She absolutely nailed this turn. Cancelling Cologne turns off Manaphy's abilities, so the bench is no longer protected. You get the double KO on Curlier. They both go to the Lost Zone because Lost City is in play, and the other 2 Curlier are prized.
Amazing draws, just like I was thinking about, maybe explain this to the viewers later, that like the Canceling Cologne play with Raiding Greninja is something that you're always like a little bit afraid of Gardevoir, but you're not like, oh, like turn 2, my opponent will just like pull it off. But of course, for Cyrus, if the opportunity presents itself, there is literally no reason to not take it, just to give it to the stream guy, right? So
And Cyrus doesn't know
amazing play
that the other two curly are prized. We do. So Angus has Gardevoir EX, but any other evolution has to come off the back of a rare candy into a Gardevoir here. Yes. Until Angus starts taking prizes, there will be no Curlier. You can't recover from the lost zone. I often describe it as a second discard pile from which you can't get cards back. It's the whole point of the lost zone. It takes cards out of the game. So cards like Super Rod or Ordinary Rod that you would sometimes be playing to get those cards back are no longer an option. Now, we have seen Ultra Ball for a Gardevoir. Do you know if Angus has a rare candy ready to go?
I would hope so. If that is the one card you choose, there are no Curly in play anymore, so there is no way to actually draw onto the rare candy later. And here we see the rare candy is in play. There's also the Fog Crystals, so you can still, what he was probably debating, maybe it makes sense to now go into like a Curlier play, maybe take a knockout on the Bidoof. Curlier puts damage counters, right?
Cresselia.
Cresselia, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Cresselia
I believe,
yes. Yeah, so usually you cannot damage the Bidoof, but if you put damage counters like Sableye does, for example, you can still do that. As we say, Angus Johnson, you should never forget, you cannot attach energy to Manaphy with Gardevoir EX, so you have to attach it from hand, and also you cannot put damage on it. No. So Cresselia is a little bit difficult to use. And Angus now, we forgot to put the Bidoof in the lost zone.
Not sure if it's relevant.
That is not coming bad. And hopefully for, Angus can maybe pull through later in the game by playing Iono.
That's a sneaky big play, actually, because obviously this is Cyrus's lost zone that put the Bidoof, because, stadium cards affect both players on each side equally. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting, of course, because, Cyrus only plays a 1-1 Bibarel line. So that means that Bidoof is gone for the game, and a late game Iono from Angus here could well end up sticking. So, and we see that Luminion, the single Luminion, has already been played by Cyrus. Cyrus does not have many options against a late game Iono here at all.
Yeah, so it's very nice that the same, for Cyrus, a great opportunity presented itself, the same on Angus's side. I have this opportunity, why not just take it? A normal game plan is not possible anymore because of the prize cards, because of like 2 Curliers in your lost zone. So you have to be a little bit sneaky, you have to think outside of the box, which Angus is doing, and I really like that. And maybe in the later games there will be some problems where Cyrus doesn't draw the cards she needs, but she's also completely aware of, like, if your opponent makes that kind of play, it's kind of obvious that they are trying to do something with their Iono. So Cyrus knows exactly, well, I just have to prepare and I should be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it looks like, has Manaphy just gone down there?
Yeah, and it goes into the lost zone.
Yeah, it
does.
So
now Greninja becomes even more of a terrifying thing that your opponent has on the bench. But I think at this point, Angus is probably not playing down a lot of Pokemon anymore.
No, unfortunately, Greninja is amazing when it's early game and you're taking out those evolving and support Pokemon. It's absolutely stunning. Time you get later in the game with higher HPs, it's less of an issue. But it's still nice, keep it in mind. You never know what Pokemon are going to end up with what damage on at this stage. But Cyrus seems to be going through this game pretty nicely. She took the double KO with Greninja. She just took a KO with Palkia here, and she seems kind of in control. And I do think Angus wants to be going for Iono here. Maybe not this turn, but certainly in the near future.
Yeah,
because
here it is, Iono.
Oh, okay. I mean, preferably now and in the near future, honestly.
Yes.
Just keep her at a very small hand size.
Exactly, and the Zacian V, in theory, you're able to take a knockout here. I think you need 8 energy cards to do that, if my math is not wrong, which it might be.
8 would be 300. So yes, it would, because 7 would be 270, which would be 10 away. So yes, you are correct. It's 8 energy on the Zacian.
Yeah, and Angus knows, well, I cannot take the knockout here. The Origin form Palkia actually has a very strong attack.
It really does.
It is similar to the Raikou.
Yeah.
It just deals 40 damage more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a super Raikou plus.
It is Super Ico Plus, and well, with that, Cyrus does go up 1-0. She is putting herself in a great position here to potentially go on into that day 2. And Angus, it really comes down to this. Unfortunately, you know, they're both phenomenal players. They're both having a good run. One of them is going to end up in day 2, well, assuming there's not a tie, of course. The other one is not going to end up, so great play from Cyrus there, game 1, and really just setting herself up. And it's very opportunistic, I think I would describe that first game as.
Yes.
That Greninja, because it's such a hard play to pull off, item cards are hard to find. You're playing one cancelling Cologne. So that's not your primary strategy, and it doesn't work if your opponent, you know, doesn't have the right bench Pokemon at the right time. But there was a perfect opportunity, and she took that opportunity, and it really was kind of everything you needed at that point. And Angus, unfortunately, just not able to get the return KO with Zacian, and that is all.
Yeah, we saw a similar strategy earlier. Actually,
Oh, here we go. We're seeing it again. This is beautiful. Sorry, carry on. Then we saw a similar strategy earlier.
We saw a similar strategy earlier with Shintaro Ito, who also played Fault Cross Switcher and Cancelling Cologne in his Champ Power deck. But yeah, he actually used Excalibur. Yeah, and Cyrus there was, like we said, if you have all the pieces, just put them down, right? There's no reason to be like, well, it's so unlikely, so I'll not do it. No, it is unlikely, and this is specifically the reason why I should do it.
Yes.
And also, yeah, the whole Lost City, such an amazing card. And Angus also completely realizing, this game is over. Let's just play for another round. Both of these players are playing great until now. They both really deserve to be in day 2. I'm very looking forward to, further match.
And time is important here. That was less than a third of the time. That is good. A tie will eliminate both players from day 2. I feel very confident neither of these great players want to tie here. So Angus conceding there. Let's go and get some more games going on. And the thing to remember is Angus, the one cancelling Cologne is prized. We need to watch out for that. Nice. Angus had 2 Curlier prized. And the very unlikely cancelling Cologne on Manaphy, double KO into the Lost Zone on the other 2 Curlier. That's some bad beats early on in the game. I think Angus will probably have a better a better chance this time.
I was just to say, look at this hand. Angus has like the best hand, and he has a he has an interesting choice where he can use Fog Crystal and Mew. And looking at this hand, it might be a good choice, but yeah, Angus agrees with me that you can just go into the Mysterious Tail Mew. As long as this now finds Battle VIP pass, then that's a very nice game for Angus. Or another Fog Crystal would also be fine. I think they're only, they're not 4 on the list here, so there's only 1 left. But before we think further, let's just see what the Mysterious Tail gives us. And
he's got
Battle
it.
VIP. Yeah, he doesn't even look at the other cards.
I don't need to see the other 3 cards. I'm getting Battle VIP pass. There's nothing else I want.
Also interesting to note, there was a level ball in Angus's hand, and you could have played it to get better chances of drawing your VIP pass, but if you're doing sequencing, it is very important that it's not only about the probability, it's also about the information you gain. And if you use Mew, it's completely random what you get. And the Battle VIP pass changes the choice you make with your level ball. So if you play level ball first, you don't know if you will get the Battle VIP pass afterwards or not. So actually what you want with your level ball depends on whether you get the Battle VIP pass or not. So in this situation specifically, it was better to go for Mysterious Tail first and then play the level ball, or not if you actually hit it.
Well, there was a more conservative play that Angus could have gone for there. We see the Zacian with the Forest Seal Stone. This Forest Seal Stone was in hand. Angus could have used Fog Crystal to go for the Zacian and then guaranteed the Battle VIP pass. If you do that, it means you don't have access to it later. But if Angus hadn't got that Battle VIP pass off the Mew, the Forest Seal Stone wouldn't have been on the table. This is game 2 when you're already down a game in the final round to get into Worlds. That's a brave choice to make. Having the confidence in yourself and your deck to go, no, I'm good, I'm going to get it. Because that was a guaranteed Battle VIP pass that is worse overall, but guarantees that you get it. Anyway, over to Cyrus. She's having a decent start here. We got Chien-Pao on the active, getting a couple of energy, and Palkia and Radiant Greninja already on the bench.
Yeah, getting the Gradient Greninja early is super important, and it's just very nice that you see the Battle VIP pass on your opening hand. It's one of these like comfort cards. You're like, oh nice, I got the Battle VIP pass. I should be good for this game. You can just play it down. Look at your deck, look at your prize cards. You get 2 basic Pokemon. It's such a strong card. It is a little bit stronger, I would say, probably in Gardevoir, because you have a very easy way to discard the ones that you draw later, which for Cyrus you only have Ultra Ball, I think,
Yeah.
and nothing really else to just get rid of them. Yeah, as we see, a very explosive turn 1 from Cyrus here now, being able to play supporter cards, so you can use Irida into Battle VIP path, also get the get the Palkia V-Star for next turn already. There's Chain Power active, so you can get energies. You have all the pieces, so actually just search for the cards you need. And this is one of the reasons, we saw last year, the Palkia deck was also very popular because you search exactly which cards you want. Yeah, and Cyrus is going for this kind of decks where you can outplay your opponent, knowing that you're probably making the better choices than your opponent.
Yeah, I like this very much. Now, the Palkia in hand is a little bit nerve-wracking because, of course, Angus does play 4 Iono, but you had to get something with Irida, and there wasn't really any other Pokemon you wanted. You were already going for your Battle VIP pass, so slight risk here, but very much calculated risk. Probably gonna, well, hoping it's gonna work out. But look, we've, again, 2 Palkia, there's an Energy, there's a Bidoof, Chien-Pao, Radiant Greninja. Second game in a row, Cyrus's setup is just exactly what she wants to see.
Yeah, and even if your opponent plays Iono, you can use Chien-Pao to shuffle your deck, so then you have another fresh chance of getting the Palkia, and then you can still use Radiant Greninja. And there are 6 prize cards left, so you could draw 6 cards, another Irida, so you should be kind of like Iono proof. As we see, Angus just going for the Iono level ball, the level ball I mentioned earlier for Manafi now, being really afraid of a similar situation. If you, like last game, it only played out because you had the Luminion for the Gust and canceling Cologne. If you don't play down Manafi, your opponent doesn't even need canceling Cologne, your opponent just needs Palkia V-Star ability. As we see a great turn 2 from Angus, who is now using the Mysterious Tales for another item card, finding another Ultra Ball, opting for the Ultra Ball. As we see, there is actually a Curlier in hand, so you might even not need to play the Ultra Ball, right? Just keep it for next turn.
I was going to say, next turn's probably better, because the only thing you're allowed to evolve on that side of the board right now is a routes into a Curlier, and we've got a Curlier, and they're all the same Curlier, so yeah, I think that's kind of a save it for next turn, guarantee that Gardevoir, whichever one you want. I think that is absolutely the play here. So we're in game 2, and we've got both players setting up quite nicely here.
Yeah, and we see Battle VIP pass hitting the discard pile, exactly like we were talking about. Yeah, this is one of the strong things about the Gardevoir decks. Yeah, Angus Johnson also preparing the Zacian V, just like last game. You know, you need a lot of energy cards on your Origin for to knock out an Origin form Palkia V-Star from your opponent. You don't want to get too much damage on your own Zacian as well. That may make it too easy for Cyrus to take the knockout. As we see the turn take over. Yeah, exactly what I just said. The Palkia was on the bottom of the deck. Now you can just use Chien-Pao. There's also an Ultra Ball, so you can just go for Ultra Ball. You're definitely able to get enough energy cards in the discard pile, and Cyrus can already start swinging. The question is, will we see a Gust? Will we see maybe a double cross switcher or not? Because taking a knockout on a Mew, well, not exactly the value you're looking for your attacks.
No, I was going to say exactly the same thing. Mew is a great Pokemon to leave in the active and just let your opponent KO, because it's kind of done its job. What have you seen, David?
Yeah, we see Irida, and it seems like there is a cross switcher in hand, so that might be a great opportunity. Yeah, to just go for cross switcher.
Love this.
We saw this is looking similar like the Miraidon deck we did, right?
It really,
just
really
going
is.
cross switcher. Yeah, not more cross switchers than I would have anticipated. This is one of the great things about Irida, similar to Avery in our Miraidon deck game. Yeah, with Irida you can search your deck for any item card. So if you have one of the cross switchers in hand already, you can use Luminion even to get the Irida, to get the cross switcher. Or if you already have it, exactly like last game, you're doing exactly what your hand cards allow you to do.
Absolutely.
As we see a Lost City as well. This is a great turn from Cyrus. It's exactly what you want to see if you're playing Palkia.
We've got the Palkia, we've got the backup Palkia, we've got the Lost City here, we've got, looks like an Ultra Ball coming down here, so that's going to go and get the Bidoof, or the Bibarel, sorry, to go on the Bidoof. That's going to let you draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. So I am loving Cyrus's setup here. Angus still, no Gardevoir down, the Zacian can be a little bit fragile sometimes. I love this. We're drawing extra cards with Bibarel, and we've even got a Hisuian Heavy Ball.
Yeah, Cyrus's turn is exactly like a symphony. All the pieces are coming together perfectly. You you have your the hand that you exactly need. You can just search your deck for all the other pieces. You can use Chivalry Chill, draw cards with Radiant Greninja, get exactly the last missing piece you need with Irida, and then if the Lost City is in your hand already, why not just take the knockout on Mana Fee?
No, sounds pretty good. I think pops the Battle VIP pass in the prizes there. Oh no, it was already there. Pops so in Heavy Ball, sorry.
Yes.
So that's a card which you don't want to see. There's a KO on the Mana Fee, and of course that was a good option off the cross switcher. Because if we don't see evolutions of multiple Curlier here, Cyrus is going to have a very fun time with Greninja next turn.
What's also very important to notice, Cyrus did not use the V-Star power yet. Usually this is something like Palkia just does it turn 2. But now Cyrus knows, well, I have Palkia active, I also have a backup Palkia on the bench, and I need more information to actually make the right choice. And there is no need to do it this turn. You can still do it next turn, but next turn, your opponent's turn already happened, so you know exactly what you need to react to. Yeah, so also something for our viewers at home to notice, that often you can do a lot of things, but you should not do it unless you actually unless it actually gives you closer to victory.
No, I agree with that one entirely. Now we do see one Gardevoir evolved up. Now this is where it gets interesting, because obviously Angus wants to have a couple of Curlier down for that refinement turn after turn. The issue is, you've got to be prepared with the V-Star power not being used and Radiant Greninja on the bench. Cyrus can essentially double KO the Curly.
Exactly.
You can leave one out, you cannot leave 2 Curlier out. So we see the Ultra Ball coming down here. You have to evolve 2 of those Curlier, so you're not giving up multiple easy prizes. It's not ideal, sometimes it's not what you want to do, but it's one of those things that you have to do. And I will say, when you don't want to use Rare Candy, and it's not turn 1, getting rid of a Candy and a Battle VIP pass from an Ultra Ball, pretty gosh darn good. But actually goes for Radiant Greninja here off the Ultra Ball.
Yeah, Angus also, Angus needs a lot this turn. Ideally, you take the knockout here. Palkia, you have to keep in mind V-Star and not V-Max, so you only draw true prize cards. But you need 8 energy cards to take the one-hit knockout here. And if you don't take the knockout here, your opponent can just, go Greninja, or even just a boss's order. This will completely destroy this great setup Angus has. So he knows, well, he needs to get energy cards in the discard pile and also Gardevoir EX to deal enough damage. As we see, the Gardevoir EX entering the field, so you will not have to worry about getting 2 of your Curliers knocked out. But also, it's very important to get rid of the energy cards in the discard pile. There are already 3 attached, so this needs 5 more. If you happen to draw into it later, you can still, I think you can still attach 1. We see Mysterious Tail, 4 Battle VIP pass just to get it out of the deck if there's no better choice for it.
As
we
Zacian
see,
goes active, and here we go. Collapse Stadium doesn't actually do very much.
It actually does, because the Palkia's damage depends on how many bench Pokemon you have.
Oh, of course it does.
Yes.
I meant for this particular
Oh,
turn.
of
You're
course.
right.
Yes,
Going forward to next turn, Palkia's damage, you're absolutely correct. That's basically minus 40 to Palkia, which is a very, very big deal. But now, do we have enough energy in the discard pile to... I don't...
Let's see.
No, we've got
I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know how many energy are in the discard pile. That Forest Seal Stone is not going to help on the Gardevoir. That's just getting it out of the hand, just doing a bit of a fin there. So,
are there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Oh, this is enough.
Oh, there we go. So 5 on there. That's going to be 100 damage on 2, but now we see the 8 damage. 8 times 3 is 240. Add the 60 base is 300. Exactly the amount of energy you need to go and get that KO. And now Angus in a good position and Cyrus in an awkward position. Because one option, the Mew's not there anymore because of the collapsed stadium.
Exactly.
So no, the double KO with Greninja is not on the board anymore. So I think here it's very simply KO the Zacian, because of course it's doing way too much damage to leave it there.
Yeah, you have to put damage on yourself, so it's not that important like how much damage the Palkia actually does this turn. But it might become important later in the game. We see another Lost City hitting the field. Cyrus just refilling the bench. We see Ultra Ball to just get rid of some cards. So you have Barbarrel as an option. Like you said, you really want to take the knockout on the Zacian V, because otherwise your opponent can just attack again. And then there are some people that play two Zacian V, but this is very uncommon.
Yes.
Most people play a single one. So if you take the knockout on Zacian V with Lost City in play, usually it's like gunfort good. This is one of the reasons why Lost City is such a good option for decks like Palkia.
Usually, but not here, because
Yes.
Angus is one of the players who does play a second Zacian V.
As we see Cyrus Davis deciding, well, this game is over for me. The opportunity to basically destroy Angus's board did not present itself this time. The setup is too good. And yeah, Cyrus basically just deciding, if I do not want to tie, I really need to get this game finished. There are 20 minutes left, so we will definitely see a conclusion to this game. I think I really like that concession here.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to do it, and we've basically seen both sides of it. You know, Angus has gone and tied it up 1-1, but we saw game one where Cyrus went, ha, your ball's completely wrecked.
Yes.
Greninja comes out with the cancelling cologne, takes out your only two, Curlier, and then that's it, that's the game. But game two, we saw that although Cyrus had a decent setup, Angus was able to get rolling, and this Gardevoir deck is a bit slow. It's one of the things that puts me off playing the deck personally, but it's very, very powerful when it gets going. And that is exactly what we just saw last game. We've basically seen the two sides to this matchup here. So now the question comes, how is game 3 going to go? Is Cyrus going to be able to repeat what she did in game 1 and get off to a slightly faster start? Or is Angus going to be able to repeat what he did game 2 and just go through with these powerful Zacian, getting a Gardevoir out and putting your opponent in a situation where they're just not able to do what they want to do, and we see the big Zacian KO here.
And now both players, they already know a little bit about the opponent's deck list, and they also know the general strategy that your opponent is using, which is important information to use for a third game. Of course,
yes.
I mean, Cyrus might have not tested too much with the deck. I don't know exactly. This is something I'm very curious to hear in the case that she wins the game, and we can interview her about that. But these players know exactly what they're doing. But sometimes, well, you just need like little extra practice games, like game 1, game 2. Basically practice at this point. We see it going down to the wire. Let's see how this game plays out.
Yeah, and we see both the Zacian V prize, along with a Curlier and a Ralph, but most importantly, both the Zacian V prize. We have seen in both games, Angus has gone for the Zacian and used it pretty effectively. Cyrus, I believe, did have her Radiant Greninja prize, which is far from ideal.
Yes.
But both the Zacian V, that is bad prizes here.
Zacian V was so important, even if you just factor in that Angus used Forest Sealstone to set up game 1 and game 2. And it's so important to play around this. Like for Cyrus, it's so important to play around the Zacian V. Of course, you don't know your opponent's prize cards, so Cyrus will still try to play around these imaginary Zacians that are somewhere lurking.
Well, you don't know your opponent's prizes, but good players can tell clues.
Yes.
If you've seen Angus go for the Zacian pretty early, game 1 and game 2, if Angus does a search, say gets a Battle VIP pass and doesn't go for the Zacian, that is going to make Cyrus go, well, hang on a second. He always goes Zacian, and Zacian was what won him game 2. Why has he not gone for the Zacian? And most of the time, it's because we've got the prizes. Now, Cyrus actually working on a pretty good setup herself here. Chen Pao is in the active, getting some energy. We've got a Bidoof on the bench. We still need to go and get a Palkia. And obviously, she'd like Radiant Greninja, but that is just not on the cards this time.
Yeah, and also, like you just said, probably Angus, like, if there is more bench Pokemon on Cyrus' side, can probably also be like, well, why is there no Greninja there? What's going on? Yeah, but Cyrus actually not revealing that information at all. There was an Ultra Ball in hand, but of course, now there is no reason to play it. Next turn, you can use Chen Pao, get your energy cards, and then just start hitting with that Palkia V-Star. As we see Angus opening Battle VIP cards now. Yeah, painful, painful surprise from the deck. These are the kind of surprises you actually don't like.
No, some surprises can be good, some surprises are bad. Double Zacian, and this is why you play 2 Zacian V. Very, very few times will you ever actually use a second Zacian V. It's extremely rare. Most players, if they play a second thing like Zacian V, it's because you are worried about the prizes and you want to make sure it doesn't happen. But statistics tells us that very occasionally, you will have it prized. You'd rather it wasn't game 3 on stream in the final round of day 1 of the World Championships when you've got a win and in. But unfortunately for Angus, that is where it's fallen. We still do get a couple of routes out here. So maybe the cat's not out of the bag yet. And now we see a worker just for a draw free. It's not great.
Yeah, not exactly what you want, but yeah, there's still the mysterious tail. This time, unfortunately, no battle VIP path. Of course, the battle VIP path would have been amazing here because yeah, it not just gives you a second route, but also Greninja,
Yes.
Radiant Greninja. We saw Angus just drawing into a bunch of energy cards, and you just want to get rid of the energy cards. You need the energy cards in the discard pile. That was one of the issues Angus had in the earlier games, in Game 1 especially, where there was a possibility to take a one-hit knockout, but there were not enough energy cards, so yeah, that was the game there.
That is a problem. These God of War decks do need enough energy in the discard pile to actually make sure that they are bringing off these big attacks. That's the whole point of God of War. It accelerates from the discard pile. It doesn't accelerate from the deck. This is a very, very important part of the deck. So it looks like, yeah, we end up with 3 routes on the bench. That is not too bad.
Yes.
And then over to Cyrus here. What have we got? It looks like she's eyeing up an Ultra Ball, getting rid of an Iono. So here you got a couple of good choices. You could go for the Bibarel for the extra draw. You could go for the Palkia V-Star, which is your main attacker. Most of the time you go for draw because Bibarel can lead to a Palkia. Palkia will not be leading to a Bibarel.
Yeah, and I'm also very interested. When I saw the hand correctly, it didn't look too well for Cyrus. So you can... Oh, the Iono had the discard pile, so maybe
Yes.
Cyrus is just preparing to use Industrious Incisors, one of the important cards. Yeah, last year it was as well, to just draw more cards.
I mean,
and
Andre
maybe
said...
hope for like a big turnout.
It's got to be the hope for. Andre said at the end of Worlds last year in his winner's interview, he said, if you want to win Worlds, play Bibarel. Cyrus was clearly listening.
There is unfortunately...
No, we got an Irida though.
No, the Irida was already in hand. I'm pretty sure Cyrus was hoping to get one of the cross switchers, because if you get one of the cross switchers now, you can again, just...
Irida for the other one.
Yeah, Irida for the other one. You can also get the Palkia V-Star with Irida, which is something, you can go Ultra Ball for, Bibarel. But there is an Escape Rope, and Escape Rope is kind of like a junior cross switcher maybe in this situation. You will definitely get value out of this. Either a Ralts, which gets put in the Lost Zone, or maybe the Mana Fee, something that Angus probably does not want to get rid of, not knowing exactly about Cyrus' price situations. Both of these players have very weird price cards, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not just the drawing cards with concealed cards that we use Greninja for. It's also that attack to take out bench Pokemon. So here it is a Routes that comes into the active, and Cyrus is going to get an extremely easy KO with Palkia. And then Routes is, of course, going to go to the Lost Zone. And this is important because sometimes those Routes do come back later in the game. If your setup isn't going, if you have too many Pokemon KO'd of importance, so that should be in the Lost Zone, not in the discard pile. Hopefully someone's going to catch that in just a second. There is a Lost City in play.
There it is.
There we go. And yeah, that's a decent KO from Cyrus.
Yeah, and also again, V-Star power not used. There's still the option. I mean, you can just draw maybe the Greninja out of your prize cards. You have like an amazing turn another round. And you still have the option, well, maybe I do actually want to attack with the Qian Pao to seal up the game if that situation presents itself. As we see, Angus's turn going for, is that an Ultra Ball?
Yeah, it is an Ultra Ball. Our lovely crew backstage have gone to put Ultra Ball on the screen ready for us, and that means that we can get a Gardevoir EX very, very early on in the game. And Gardevoir EX, it's an odd one because what are you attacking with here? Like, Gardevoir EX is really good at accelerating energy onto Zacian, but we know Zacian's in the prizes, it's not coming out. It's also good at accelerating energy onto the other Gardevoir, the single prize Gardevoir, but that's not coming out at this point, and it's definitely not coming out. There's no routes to evolve into.
Yeah, right now there is no way to use this. Attacking with Gardevoir EX is not the worst thing you can do because, well, it has a lot of HP. Palkia can only deal 260 damage, but you have some influence in that because, if Angus just does not put Pokemon down, there is no way to deal for Cyrus to make the Palkia deal even more damage than that. So you can get one safe attack out. You need at least 20 damage. You can use the ability to attach active and then attach one on the bench and then get one from your hand as well. So it's possible to just get 20 damage, which puts Gardevoir EX at 290 HP. more than enough to get the next turn, unless Cyrus is trying to go full destruction mode with Gempo.
We could see a cheeky Bibarel KO here. So Angus has gone and put the... Oh, no, we couldn't because the mana fee's
Exactly,
out.
yeah.
I was thinking we were maybe going to get the Bibarel KO, but in order to KO with Bibarel... Oh,
You can, yeah, Cresselia has 2 great attacks. Lunar Blast is also just nice to get some damage off. This is 110 damage, which means that Origin Form Palkia has now only 170 HP left, which is exactly enough for Gardevoir to take out, to pick up the knockout later.
yeah, absolutely works. I mean, the first attack with Cresselia is one we always focus on. Were there 6 Psychic Pokemon out, Angus could have used Gardevoir EX, put 1 energy on each, 2 damage counters on each, and then move all of them over to Bibarel and get that cheeky KO.
Exactly.
But I kind of like this. We're working on a KO on the Palkia. As it stands at the moment, Cyrus doesn't have a second V-Star. I mean, she probably will at some point in the near future, like now, for instance. But it's still nice to just be taking out your opponent's attackers. And maybe if you take out a couple of Palkia, Cyrus starts running low on decent attackers. That could be a way to end the game a little bit earlier. What we seen, David?
And look at that hand. Cross-switcher, Irida, and Boss's Order. So you even have the... Yeah, kind of the pain of the choice.
There will be gusting.
Yeah, you can just take the knockout on Curlier. Lost Zone is still in play. That would put 2 rolls in the Lost Zone for Angus. Yeah, very difficult situation to be in. I really like the Cresselia play here. Sets up everything perfectly. It makes total sense if you're playing with the information that Angus has that, yeah, there is no Zacian V unless he takes the first knockout, right? And yeah, Bibarel also, like Cresselia is something, you read the card and you're like, oh, I can deal 120 damage. But yeah, because you have usually your Greninja and Manafi, like, it's actually kind of difficult to pull the 120 damage off.
Usually 80 is normally about the most you can go for, but you know, that's all right. 80 is not too bad. Now we did see Cyrus there going for Luminion, not coming down this turn, one would imagine, because, well, we've already seen the Irida.
Exactly.
But it's a nice option to have there for a supporter card next turn, assuming Angus doesn't play an Iono. But it was a cross switcher that was really what we were going for there off the Irida.
Yeah, there was the argument that you can maybe just play Boss's Order, because if you play cross switcher, you still have to pivot out of the active spot, which might force Cyrus to use the... Oh, there is a switch in hand, so you can play cross switcher switch, which is very nice. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what the decision comes down here, because you don't really want to use your V-Star power now. You really try to use it as late as you can. As we see, yeah, PM power, you can just put it active for free. And now, yeah, put probably just a switch and put the second rolls in the Lost Zone, applying so much pressure on Angus' board.
Yeah, the Baxcalibur list, you can afford to start retreating and wasting energy because you can just accelerate as much as you like with Baxcalibur's ability. But here, I think you said yourself, the phrase used was you get one big burst usually early in the game. So you need to make sure you're not wasting energy here. You've got to be far more conservative. Cyrus gets the KO on that Curlier, which of course does go to the Lost Zone. And now Cyrus is 2 prizes up, but she's also taken 2 very, very good KOs on Pokemon that she wants to see the back of, to use a very British phrase. So Angus is in a little bit of trouble here because I believe he's got a prized routes at this stage. And there's 2 in the Lost Zone. I'm pretty sure he's got a prized routes. It was 1 routes, 1 Curlier, which isn't a big deal early on in the game, but when 2 hit the Lost Zone, so with the 2 Zacian as well, frankly, Angus is running out of Pokemon here.
Yeah, I completely forgot. Like, I was so focused on having 2 Zacian V prize that I completely forgot there was also a Rolls prize.
And a Super Rod, just to kind of add insult, but they're all going to the Lost Zone anyway.
Amazing. Yeah, there is still the... And because the V-Star power was still not used, Cyrus still has the option to just attack with Gem Power. Try to just take the big wanted knockout. Lost City still in play. Put the 3rd rolls in the Lost Zone. Let's go. Yeah, Angus is trying to prevent that from happening. I got a little bit too excited there. But let's see. You can still just draw the cards that you need right now. We see, there's a little bit, seems to be a little bit confusing with the Lost City. Yeah, this is of course not supposed to be there. Let's hope Cyrus doesn't forget.
Yeah, that Lost City does need to go away. The Collapse Stadium came out to replace it. But it's... My worry for Cyrus, and she's in a very good position here, but my worry is that Gardevoir's actually got a lot of HP. And it's only kind of doing 190, 190, 190, 190, but that's going to add up pretty quickly. It's a lot of 2-hit KOs, no 1-hit KOs. But actually, how does Cyrus do big? I mean, I suppose you 2-hit KO with Palkia and kind of cross your
No,
fingers.
you can, in theory, you can use Chen Pao. You need 5, if you discard 5 energy cards, that's 300 damage, right? So you can just take the big one-hit knockout here if you really want to. But yeah, like we already said, you have to discard basically all energy on board, so it's a very risky play. But I think like in this game situation, might be one of the plays that you actually want, like one of these risks that are just worth taking.
I love the idea of getting the big 1-hit KO on Gardevoir here. And the thing is, because Palkia is a 2-energy attacker, and Cyrus does play 2 Melanie, that could work. Because next turn you can just Melanie to get 1 energy, attach for turn to get the other energy, although we did see Cyrus getting 1 energy off Chen Pao a minute ago. Has she got more in the deck? She does. She does have energy in the deck. Yeah. Okay, that's fine then. So yeah, I actually don't mind this play purely because of the existence of Melanie, but it does mean that Cyrus will need Melanie next turn.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the play because Cyrus might have actually forgotten the collapsed stadium, or maybe I'm just I'm just not good enough at seeing these kind of situations. Oh no, the Bibarel was already used, yeah.
Yes.
So I was just about to say, like, it seems kind of weird to choose all these cards if you go for Bibarel, as we see, yeah.
Yes,
exactly like I
KO.
hope. That's exactly what I hope for in Cyrus's shoes, of course. I would, of course, love for Angus to win as well. Cyrus now going down to 2 prize cards. There is not even a Ralts in Angus' side of the board.
It's not looking good.
It's so difficult to maneuver, but also no energy on Cyrus' board as well, right? So there's at least, yeah, I mean, you can use Melanie to get more energy on board, but you need a lot of cards for that.
We need 3 cards. Melanie, energy, pivot.
Exactly.
If you get Melanie,
or just attack with Chen Pao again.
Or just attack with Chen Pao again, I suppose. Especially with that 60 HP Mew. It's going to be awkward for Cyrus, and she is going to be relying on having those Melanie, I think, for the next turn or 2. But she is in a decent position to try and close this out. Angus, I mean, he's basically got to attack with Cresselia here. Like, he's out of attackers.
Yes.
There are no Gardevoir. Now, has he hit a Zacian now? But then even if he has a Zacian, he doesn't have the Gardevoir EX to power it up.
Exactly.
Oh, I am not loving Angus's side of the board here. And, you know, we're cheering for good plays. That Chen Pao play a minute ago was a good play. I'm all for cheering for good plays.
Yeah, you know exactly. Cyrus just proved everyone here as well. She knows exactly when you have to do what, and this is exactly what you need with that kind of deck. Also, now there is a funny... Oh, well, yeah, there is a funny situation where you know, like, the bottom cards of your deck are not cards that you need to draw with Bibarel. So you have to think, like, a second, like, oh, do I actually want this? But yeah, we see the Ultra Ball coming down, of course. Drawing more cards complete, like, this is only relevant if your deck is incredibly small. I was, thinking about this because, well, maybe you don't want to use Chen Pao because there are 2 Water Energy cards on the bottom of your deck, and also Radiant Greninja. So if you use Chen Pao, you're actually not thinning out your deck. You're just shuffling the Greninja on a random situation. Yeah, but with the Ultra Ball, of course, you want to draw as many cards as you want, because now you just need the Melanie, or maybe Lost City plus Luminion.
Yeah. Well, you can't play Luminion without... Yeah, Lost City plus
exactly,
Luminion. Yes, absolutely.
As we see Melanie just naturally finding her way into the deck. And also, yeah, we see attachment on the bench, which means, yeah, there also is a way to switch the Chen Pao from the active position. Otherwise, you could have just attached to the Chen Pao and then attacked.
No, you can't, because it only
attaches
it's
on the bench.
Pokemon
I'm sorry.
Because Chen Pao is an EX. Oh. And I know that because there's like 3 different times on stream. I'm like, oh, you should Melanie onto Greninja. Okay. You can't Melanie onto a Greninja, David, no matter how many times I accidentally say it. So no, it has to be onto the Palkia there. So we need some kind of pivoting option. It's a switch.
Nice.
Oh,
there it is.
And Cyrus takes prize number 5, and she is very, very close to wrapping up her day 2 Worlds here. After winning the North American International Championships, Angus is playing it out, but for how much longer?
Yeah, there is no reason, of course, there is no reason to give up now, and Angus knows. The time is also well. Angus can take all his time to think about what play do I make here. There is almost always some kind of way to win, even if it's just, okay, I play boss on something that you can't pivot and just try to only attack with Cresselia the whole game. This is one of the options in theory that Angus has. Just hope, well, maybe my opponent will draw bad. It's not very likely, but it can happen, and the alternative is just to pack up your stuff and not even try it, of course.
Yeah,
So-
were this game 1 or game 2, maybe Angus, well, Angus probably would have conceded by now. Go to the next game, see if it goes any better. This is the last game of the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championship for one of these players. It is as simple as that. Whoever loses this game is out. The problem is now here we see Boss's orders onto the Bibarel here, and now all we're going to need to see from Cyrus is some kind of pivoting option. Now we do see the energy moving over. Does Cyrus have a pivot to put herself into day 2 of the World Championships? She's got an Irida. Irida is going to go
definitely
for
the
a switch.
Here we
There's
see the
the switch, and a
That's
KO
it.
with Palkia. Cyrus is in day 2 of the World Championships.
Cyrus Davis is so just deserved, right?
Yes.
Like, you win the NAIC, the biggest tournament, I think, ever outside of Japan.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not 100% sure.
No,
It
that
might
is-
even be the biggest one in general. But you still kind of whiff enough points very closely to get that immediate day 2 setting. Yeah, if anyone deserved it to win this game, to win here at day 1 it was Cyrus.
No, I absolutely agree with you there, David. I mean, clearly, there's a lot of phenomenal players in day 1 of the World Championships. It's the World Championships. But I agree with you. Winning the biggest tournament ever outside of Japan and then not getting a day 2 invite, having to play through day 1, does seem a little bit like, you know, there are going to be people watching going, wait, how did she not have a day 2 invite? Well, now she does. And I don't know, I've always thought there is something about going through day 1, winning 6 out of 8 games, getting that confidence. Now we've got the question of, does she stick with Chen